What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely fantastic day. I know I am. And if you are having a good day, I'm going to ask you to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam at all. You will be kidnapped by aliens. Yeah, that's right. I talked to Flebnar of the 15th Martian Fleet, and he said that he will actually be kidnapping anybody that does not press the like button because he loves my videos. Real talk, guys, today we're going to be taking a look, or not taking a look at, wrong channel, or telling the story about a male Karen. This is actually a subscriber story that somebody sent into my Instagram DM, so if you have any crazy stories, you could always send them into there, which is my @Scrubby. But regardless, guys, it should be a pretty damn entertaining story about a male Karen just absolutely losing their mind. So, yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Like I said, press the like button, subscribe, all that stuff, and let's go. Anyways, the person that sent me this story's house, I guess, flooded a couple months ago, which is a big sad. I know I'm definitely breaking ground here by saying that houses flooding is, in fact, not a good thing, but this person's house flooded, so they had to move into a rental. And I guess basically where this rental house is, where the insurance company put them, it's like on this house on a cliff overlooking the ocean. So a pretty cool place, you know, a little cliffside manor for you to do your Scooby-Doo mysteries and like overall cause problems for your neighbor. That's just how it is. But I guess since this house is like pretty high up on the cliff by the ocean and has a pretty view or whatever, there are these guys that like to, you know, do the parachute thing, like the free jumping where they then like fly through the sky and just get to enjoy the view. So they jump off the cliff and like fly around the sky, right? And they do it like relatively often, and for the first like, you know, couple of months that they're in this rental house, nothing really bad happens. The people come, they do their jump, they fly through the sky, and they go home. Because the house next door to this rental property is vacant all winter, because I guess it's like a second home to the crazy people that come in. So, whatever, one of these days the house is full now, like the people are living next door to it, and sure enough, these people come and like go up and start jumping off the cliff in order to parachute down, doing their flying thing, and I guess this really upsets the new neighbor that has like been gone all winter and has now decided to pull up, because what happens next is a bunch of noises coming from outside of the house, which is not what you expect, you know? Like, when you live in a quiet little place on the side of a cliff, it's not very often that you hear people screaming like, "Get down from the sky, we're under attack!" Like, low-key, it definitely sounds like Japanese fighter planes are gonna be flying at the coast. But the person who sent me this looks out the window, and sure enough, the neighbor, the person that's supposed to be a sane homeowner, is like in the backyard screaming into the sky at the people that are parachuting down. Which I feel like is a very ineffective way of saying that you're not happy with something, because like once they're in the air with the parachutes open, no amount of yelling is gonna fix it. Like what? You just want the people skydiving right now to be like, "Oh man, that person down there seems pretty upset that we are fighting. Better ball up our parachutes and fall to our immediate peril, which we will definitely not survive due to the fact that we are falling off a cliff. I sure am sorry for making you upset. Tell my mom I'm sorry." Like, dude, that's just not gonna happen. My dog sometimes, I have a beagle named Nova, and she's a little dumb, and every now and then she'll go in the backyard and like run back and forth in the grass, barking at the birds in the sky, trying to get them to like, you know, come down and be hunted by her or something. And I feel like that's very similar energy. Like, this Karen dad out here is really just like, "Hey, get out of the sky. This is my sky. Get out of the sky," you know? So the neighbor is, I guess, absolutely insane and is out there screaming into the sky at these people with these parachutes, like just incoherent stuff like, "Get off my property," which, I mean, when you're like 1,000 feet in the air, I don't think it's true. And 1,000 might be a little bit of an exaggeration, like they're probably only a couple hundred feet in the sky, but I'm pretty sure saying "get off my property" when people are flying above it doesn't really work. Like, I just don't really know what you want the parachute people to do. So beyond just screaming at them to like get off his property and stuff, he's becoming incredibly vulgar. Like, he's swearing at them, just screaming profanity into the sky at these parachutes, which, I mean, if you couldn't see the parachute, has to look absolutely hilarious. Like, just imagine you go outside for, you know, your morning job. You're expecting it to be a nice, relaxing stroll. Next thing you know, you just hear some grown man screaming profanities in the sky about getting off his property, and you look over and don't see anything in the sky. You just see this dude losing it, screaming his head off into like the wilderness. this dude is definitely a little bit mentally unhinged. So he's screaming, "Get off my property," at all these people in the sky, which, like I said, nowhere for them to really go except for plummeting straight into the ocean, which I don't think any of them are gonna do. So this guy is like literally so bad with his screaming that all the little kids are, having to get taken inside because all you can hear when you're outside is just this man screaming profanity. So he decides to defend himself from the parachuters, which really weren't gonna bother you anyways. Like, here's, I guess, where my logic is with this. I can understand getting really upset if something's gonna bug you or keep you up all night or anything like that as a neighbor, but like, I really don't understand what people parachuting over the top of your house is gonna do at all. Like, do you think what? They're gonna drop a microphone down your chimney so they can spy on you and your boring conversations that you and your retired family have? No, it's not gonna happen. Like, I really just don't understand why you would get so upset about something that literally is not gonna bug you at all. This is the equivalent of being mad about what car your neighbor drives. Like, dude, it doesn't affect you. The only time it'll affect you is when they're leaving. So shut up and just stop complaining. So whatever, he decides that in order to combat these parachuters, he's gonna put kites all over the place on the side of this cliff. So he gets like 20 kites and sets them all up all over his property, which is actually insanely dangerous. I think his plan was that, the people that were cliff jumping or whatever would like go away from the kites because, they would be getting in the way. But the only problem is, in order to avoid the kites, you can avoid the big part, but the tiny little string that's clear is almost impossible to see, right? Like, it's almost impossible to see. So basically, he's saying, I hope that these cliff jumpers get tangled up in some kite wire and plummet to the ground. Like, low-key, that's not what he's actually saying, but that's definitely what's being implied. And it's definitely dangerous to put a bunch of tiny little invisible wires in the sky to potentially tangle up people flying hundreds of feet in the air. Like, I'm sorry, call me crazy here, call me maybe a little bit old-fashioned, but I really don't want to make anybody plummet hundreds of feet to the floor over the fact that I don't like them on my property, I would much rather just ask my neighbor to maybe turn down their music or fly over a different house than like try to come up with a plan that would guarantee that somebody plummets to the ground outside my property. Maybe that's just me being a good person, all right? Maybe I'm a little bit too nice to people that would skydive above my property, but I really don't want anybody to get messed up. So all these kites are outside, and at like 5 p.m., out of nowhere, all this screaming happens. So the male screaming is like back. The male Karen, which we're gonna call I don't know, what's a male Karen name? A Gabriel? Gabriel. The Gabriel screaming is back. So this person goes outside and is like, all right, what's going on with the neighbor screaming? And sure enough, the neighbor is standing at the top of like the cliff looking down and screaming, and there's a dude at the bottom with a parachute and a kite. So I guess these parachute people had come back to cliff dive again, which, I mean, how frequently are people cliff diving in your neighborhood, bro? Like, I feel like if I went cliff diving every day, multiple times a day, the thrill would kind of be gone, Like, oh, here we go, jumping down a cliff again, Jeremy. Wow, look at how sick this is. Like, it would get a little bit boring. Maybe that's just me, though. So is screaming, and what is very quickly put together is that one of these people had crashed into the kite line, thankfully like lower down, and like crashed because of it. So he legit made a parachute person crash. Thankfully they were okay, no broken bones, nothing bad, but think about how bad that could have been. If somebody crashes from 200 feet in the sky and just plummets straight down because they're tangled up in a kite line, like, that's on you. How are you going to explain that to the cops? No, officer. See, I put these kites in the air to punish them. Well, it tangled them up and made them fall. I'm just saying then, officer, maybe that was their punishment. Karma works like that sometimes. So, like, there's arguments going on, they're screaming, and what's nuts is that the male Karen is extremely mad at this parachute person for breaking his kite. Yes, that's right, not being on his property, not apologetic that he literally made somebody crash in a parachute. No, 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 no. What he is angry about is the fact that the kite is not doing too well after it has been crashed on by somebody that was just falling from the sky. And I guess the parachute people were not very receptive. They're like kind of telling this guy to F off, which I mean, I would too. If I was just going for a nice peaceful cliff jump and all of a sudden I get tangled up in some kite line from like some 50-year-old dude that doesn't like us, I'd be pretty mad too. So the Karen decides that he's gonna call the cops for destruction of property, like this $30 kite that he had put into the sky with the purpose of messing them up that did get messed up. Yeah, that's his property now. So he's like, I'm gonna call the cops right now. And obviously, there's kind of a worldwide pandemic going on. Like, you know, emergency response crews are kind of really trying to make sure they respond to emergencies. So obviously, the cops are called, and the call probably went something like this. Excuse me, people messed with my kite. I need the police immediately. And he comes back out after calling the police and tells everybody, like all the parachuters and everybody's watching, that the cops are gonna be here in 30 minutes and nobody better leave because the cops are gonna be here. This is a very serious matter, you know, just trying to get everybody as terrified as possible that the SWAT team's gonna respond. And like, could you imagine, dude, the SWAT team pulls up AR-15s at the ready because some stupid kite got broken on the side of a hill? I really just don't understand how delusional people are. Like, you called the cops over a kite, and you really think that they're gonna come freak out and try to get to the bottom of it, like Scooby-Doo and the gang are gonna be pulling up to try to figure out the mystery of the broken kite? People are just ridiculous. And, yeah, the police obviously didn't end up coming. They've kind of got more important stuff to deal with right now. But for 30 minutes, everybody just kind of sat there and waited while they were like, yeah, the cops are gonna come, and trust me, you guys are gonna get arrested. This kite is a family heirloom, which, I mean, I've never heard of anybody handing down kites, but I guess maybe when your family's this stupid, that is what you get up to. Regardless, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, I really would appreciate you pressing the like button. If you really want to support the channel, OG Sub Club merch as always. And yeah, on that note, guys, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. Follow me on the socials. Today's notification shout out goes to the very awesome and fantastic Logan Graham. Big thank you, man, for having on notifications. Like I said, if you want a notification shout out, just turn on notifications, then screenshot to my Instagram, and I shout someone out every day. And yeah, all right, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I've already said it. You get it twice today, so you better not get anyone pregnant. And I'm out. Peace.